They're going to be going 37 cars strong around this 4/10 mile track, 75 laps is the distance. 17 degrees of banking in the corners, and you look at the track from up here, they look like pretty big sweeping corners. You get down on there, it is a hard left-hander into turn one. It's hard enough to do that with 1 or 2 cars on the track, but it's going to be a lot harder to do it with 36 other cars around you.
Here we go. Double wide all the way around. 36 cars strong. Lights on top of the Deacon Jones Dodge Pace car are out. Mr. Bushy behind the wheel of it will have to make the left turn in just a moment. Mike Hare on top of the flag stand. He'll look them over. Field bunches together. Green flag is in the air and we're racing. Garrett Bunch on the brake, sticks a nose out in front. The field shuffles off to turn number 1 for the first time.
Looks like the 81 of Adam Murray checked up a little bit. We went 3 wide right behind him. Brian Pendleton's going to be the big winner out of that. He's going to go ahead and probably move up to about 6th or 7th position when it's all said and done. They're side by side for the 3rd up ahead.
That battle not lasting very long. Doug Barefoot will slip back to the number 4 position. Donald Brace will go by. So give Donald Brace the 3rd spot. Everybody shuffling from there on back. A couple of cars off the pace and heading for the pit lane already as the leaders already click lap number 1 on the board.
As the 51 car, Corey Walker brings it in for the night. Tough break for him there early. Really had a lot of hope going into this race. Nothing really doing there. Side by side back for right at about 9th place is Adam Murray to the inside of Brian Pendleton. He's going to make the pass just about, but Pendleton does come back on strong. He gets big right going into turn 1. Hard hit there.
Harrison Burton is involved in the crash. Harrison Burton is in it. 5 different cars involved in it. A colossal impact over in turn number 1 with 4 different race cars. And it's difficult to tell which cars are involved. There is sheet metal, there's fluid, there's all kinds of stuff everywhere.
Bobby Gower is the driver there that took the biggest hit. His whole front end is brought in by about a good foot and a half there. He hit the wall a ton there. Field just checked up. One guy got hooked, and you carry so much speed going down the straightaway into these corners. If you get hooked or anything before you can really get on the brake, you're going to hit the wall a ton, and they hit there.
I just need a broom more than anything, Ken. It was a lot of debris that came off the cars. The fans sitting trackside, I had to go run for cover for just a second there because those cars, about 3 or 4 of them hit hard on the outside wall.
You see Harrison Burton's car come rolling on back. Definitely not the night that he nor Jeff Burton wanted to see.
Pace car behind the wall looking for the green flag. This time by. Here we go again. 3 laps complete. Green is in the air. And the field begins to fan out. They're 3 wide from 5th on back in turn number 1. There's contact. 1 car goes around. Further back up against the outside wall. 3 more cars collected in a hard crash between turns 1 and 2. And the limited late model race not getting off to a good start whatsoever.
That appears to be the 26 of Cart Bodetsky. I think I'm saying that right. As well as the 6 of, is that Jeremy Burns in the 6? That's Jeremy Burns in the 6 as well.
Still only 3 laps complete, believe it or not. Green flag flew 26 minutes ago.
I want to say hi to the hundreds of you listening on the internet right now. Yeah, a whole bunch of you people listening online right now.
Here we go, pace car behind the wall one more time. Garrett Bunch on the pole, Kyle Appel on the outside, or rather Donald Brace on the outside. Green flag is in the air, we're racing again. Through the gearbox they go back to turn number 1. Bunch Bunch on the inside. Donald Brace slips on the outside. That'll allow Garrett Bunch to scamper away by a car length.
Side by side for second. Kyle Appel is on the inside. He's got Donald Brace on the outside. Brace holds the spot side by side, so for the lead for second place. Brace gets a heck of a run going into turn number 1. Comes off turn number 2 a little bit loose, and that lets Appel capitalize.
So Bunch opens up 2 car length advantage. They're stacked up double wide from second on back. And at the Hornet's Nest there, nobody finding the real estate they need to back in turn number 1.
Kyle Appel to the inside of Donald Brace. He'll clear Donald Brace, and if you look right behind there, Brandon Setzer up to 4th. He's got the 7th car of Lewis Wade. Look for Lewis Wade to keep trying to move forward. He's doing all right back there. Right on the bumper of Brandon Setzer, while Michael Rouse sits on the inside of Doug Barefoot at the moment.
6 laps complete. Field continue to circle around the racetrack. Things beginning to settle down at the second position. Kyle Appel has it. Donald Brace settles in line in 3rd. Running in the number 4 position, Brandon Setzer. Lewis White, the track champion, is up to 5th. Michael Rouse runs 6th. Doug Barefoot can drop kick to 7th. Ryan Robertson is 8th. Adam Murray is 9th, and Danny Willis Jr. peaking himself in the top 10 for the first time.
Clay Jones knocking on the door of the top 10 right now. He's just got by Brian Templeton. Brian Templeton's backsliding just a little bit. Got involved in a little bit of shenanigans earlier on. Black flag for the, that is the 58 car. He's got a ton of right side damage. Not really sure what happened there, but the sheet metal's peeled off from about the front fender on back past the right side door.
Yeah, the right side, like the passenger side door, flapping in the air. He'll dive for pit road, make his way down, and you're going to see a pit crew member literally yank that sheet metal off. It's the right front quarter panel that's peeled backwards. Crew makes the pit work complete as they yank that away. Meanwhile, they're going to lose a couple of laps in the process. A little more severe trying to get some of the underskirting peeled off that race car. Meanwhile, back on the racetrack, the race leader, Garrett Bunch, not far from falling into the tail end of the field and start lapping, folks.
First car is going to catch 2 is Mike Jones. Mike Jones, of course, attempted the rear of the field earlier for jumping the restart. Now he's all over the back end of the 38 car of Robert Royce. So there's only 29 cars left on the lap. 13 laps in. Tough going early, but really already ready to start putting the cars a lot down this early in the race. Royce are up and out of the way. Mike Jones is next in front of Garrett Bunch, and then behind him, Kyle Appel finally put some space between himself and Donald Brace.
Move over flag is in full effect right now. Royster has got the leaders bearing down on him. They'll go 3 wide in turn number 1. Setzer clears him as now Royster quickly dives for the bottom of the back straightaway to get out of harm's way. Leaders get by, and Garrett Bunch, the actual race leader, is weaving his way through the back markers right now on the back straightaway.
Donald Brace is all over some lap traffic trying to get by, trying to keep pace with Kyle Appel. Appel up and around the Adam Resnick machine, and now Brace is kind of stuck there. He's going to make the 3 wide down off the corner, way low on the track, but he's going to keep pace with Kyle Appel going into the corner. 58 cars around, same car that had to travel early. Comes down, cuts across the traffic, big wreck up ahead. Adam Resnick somehow gets through and then spins and hits the wall.
Doug Barefoot involved in the crash as well. He started this race up in the top 5. He'd fallen back just a bit. Now he's got significant body damage to the right front corner of his race car. He's been able to refire. He's trying to pull away from the accident site. But a big crash, and this again, Ken, lap traffic coming into play. The leaders trying to negotiate that.
That's tight, what that is. You look at the top 3 separated by .003. I mean, it's there's a whole lot of bushies out there.
Yeah, they come
side by side, back for fourth. We got Brandon Setzer on the inside, Michael Rouse on the outside. Rouse looks a little stronger out there, but up front, side by side for second. Donald Brace to the inside of Kyle Appel. He's going to make that pass look really, really easy off of turn number 4. Lewis White has 5th, Michael Rouse on the outside has 6th, and Clay Jones has 7th. They're all stacked up behind Setzer. White wants to go. He's going to get to the inside of Brandon Setzer. He looks down to the bottom. Setzer stays up high there, side by side, coming off of turn 4. White's got the spot. He'll have the position by about a half a car length right now as they dive back into turn number 1. Clay Jones makes it right past Brandon Setzer, and now right in his mirror there's Michael Rouse. Michael Rouse, no stranger to Southern National Motorsports, parking a variety of cars. Side by side down the backstretch, you got Brandon Setzer on the outside and Michael Rouse on the outside, on the inside. That's the 6th place. Rouse has the spot. Brandon Setzer leans up on him a little bit. Rouse has the spot. Now Danny Willis Jr. is there to challenge. Field starts to single file out most of the way through now that the race is starting to get into a little bit of a rhythm here. Brandon Setzer having a tough time keeping the car on the bottom, as is Brian Pembleton, who's racing behind him. Out front, Garrett Bunch has about a 1.5 lead, right about a 1.5 lead on Donald Brace. Brace has about another full second back to Kyle Appel. If he looks in his mirror, he sees Lewis White closing in. Clay Jones is up there now for 5th. Clay Jones, no stranger to victory lane here as well. We're single file just about all the way through the field.
Helps if our microphone's turned back on. Here we go. Field working back across the start finish line. 28 out of the 75 laps complete for the limited late models. It's Garrett Bunch all at the front of the field, and he's beginning to put distance between himself and second place running Donald Brace as they again enter lap traffic over on the back straightaway.
Garrett Bunch starting to work his way back through slower traffic again. Slower traffic's been a big deal out here most of the season, especially tonight. But so far, so good around the track. Got a lot of single file races right now. Little battle back there on the inside of Brian Pembleton. Joe Heigl looking for a top 10 right now. He gets to the inside of Pembleton, comes off of turn 2. Still diving turn number 3. Heigl's got the spot, and right behind him, he's got the 81 of Adam Murray. Murray wants that spot as well.
31 laps complete, 75 make up the distance. It's the Garrett Bunch benefit. He's got some clean air in front of him for the moment. Donald Brace has cleared himself from lap traffic. He's got 10 car lengths to make up, however, on the race leader. Now Appel, who rides in the 3rd spot, has got Lewis White pestering him from behind, and running in the 5th spot is Clay Jones. Here's the challenge for the 4th spot.
Lewis White looks at the inside of Kyle Appel. Gets down way down low, a little bit too tight to diamond off that corner. Kyle Appel gets a good run off of turn 2. Can just barely clear Lewis White. He drops a hammer down, gets into turn number 3, comes off of 4, but Lewis White's right back there to his inside.
Lewis White digging down to the bottom of the racetrack. Appel giving him plenty of racing room in the outside lane. They're wheel to wheel in the back straightaway. A quick drag race setting up for the 17-degree banking at turn number 3 by a fender. Lewis White, your reigning track champion in the limited late models. He'll take over the number 3 position as sparks fly from underneath his race car as it bottoms out turn 1. Appel hung up on the outside lane. Clay Jones will capitalize. He'll squeeze down to the inside and give Clay Jones the number 4 position in the exchange.
Rare a little bit of patient driving right there. Got Kyle Appel, knew he was hung up on the outside. Basically let Clay Jones have the spot. Clay Jones now wants to try to put the charge on Lewis White. He gets right up to his bumper off of turn 2. Going to try again through 3 and 4, but so far Lewis White, the defending track champion, is too much right now.
Everybody settling down, found themselves a nice groove on the racetrack to ride and make laps. 37 laps complete of the scheduled 75. Glad you can join us. I'm Alex Hayden alongside Ken Childs. 38 laps on the board, just like that. They're clicking around this 4/10 of a mile racetrack at lap times of right at 16 seconds a lap.
William, that's not that far off qualifying times around here. You guys are really moving at a pretty solid clip. Pretty decent racing throughout the field. After a lot of early cautions, they have a lot of guys being a little more patient, trying to save the cars for the last little sprint to the finish. Right now, Lewis White stretched out a little bit from Clay Jones. Lewis White has third, trying to catch Donald Brace. Brace is no spin over in turn 2 as Jonathan Carnegie's around. Had a bit of a tap from Mike Jones. Carnegie gets around, doesn't hit anything. Field scatters. We're under caution.
So caution on the speedway on lap number 40 for Jonathan Carnegie, the Goldsboro, North Carolina driver.
You know, we've got all these big races. You get 2 or 3 cautions, you get all the riff-raff taken out and all that, and before you know it, you got some clean track ahead of you.
People in Twitterland want to know if we've seen any Billy Ray Cyrus haircuts at the racetrack today.
If you guys only knew.
All we see are toboggans. Are you kidding me? Yeah, that's green flag back in the air. Restart is underway. Donald Brace not getting a very good start from the inside row 2. He'll give up 5 car lengths on the run as Garrett Bunch continues to pull away. Clay Jones will fall in line, ride his tire tracks. And boy, oh boy, are they shuffling from 7th on back.
It is an absolute mess back here. 3 wide and hard hit going on in this front stretch. It's going to be the 81. That's Adam Murray. He backs into the wall after contact with a 71. That was Chris Chapman. They really had nowhere to go. 3 wide with Brian Pembleton. Pembleton was just on the outside by himself. Had Murray and Chapman on his inside. They got together, both trying to avoid Pembleton. Murray backed it on into the wall, and his whole rear end is all crumpled in. Got a little bit dragging from the rear end, and you never want anything dragging from your rear end.
Well, no, and Adam Murray's going to go down the opposite end of the racetrack and make a U-turn down at the entrance to pit wall and take his battered race car back to his hauler. Orange cone is out on the racetrack. Field filing inside lane, outside lane. No major shuffles in the deck at the front of the field. Garrett Buncher, pole sitter, still up front. He's led all 41 laps. He'll take the inside lane. Clay Jones will take the outside lane. At 57 now minutes since the drop of the green flag. Average speed about 8 miles an hour. With all these cautions and stoppages, fortunately, everybody's been okay in all the hard crashes. Here we go up off turn number 4. Green flag goes back in the air. Clay Jones gets a good jump. He'll lead the field back to turn number 1 by a fender, but Garrett Bunch rallies back on the bottom side of the racetrack on the backstretch.
Side by side for the lead. Garrett Bunch is going to clear Clay Jones going into turn number 3. Calapel gets to the inside of Jones now. He gets a little bit loose right in front of Lewis White. Lewis White manages to get off his bumper though. Jones has a spot on the outside, but just barely by a nose.
So Bunch will get away by 4, now 5 and 6 car lengths as he rockets down the backstretch. They're double wide 2nd and 3rd. They're double wide 4th and 5th. And from there on back, things are just an absolute mess. Everybody diving for turn number 1 again. Appel comes away with the 2nd spot over on turn 2.
But now he's got a challenge from Lewis White. Lewis White looks to the inside of Calapel. Appel just about gives him the spot. Lewis White takes the spot. Appel tries to cross over, gives Lewis White a little bit of a bump. Appel drifts up the track, but he's going to stay just ahead of Donald Brace.
Clay Jones getting the worst of this last restart. He elected to start on the outside of the front row. Right now he's fighting to hang on to the 5th position to no avail. He'll lose 5th, he'll lose 6th. Clay Jones hung up on the outside lane going backwards.
Danny Willis Jr. really loose off of turn number 2. Just about leans up on Clay Jones. Brandon Setzer way off the pace going into turn number 3. He had some kind of trouble. He's coming out of pit road. Tough break for Setzer. Looks like he might have a left rear down.
Right rear tire is down on Setzer's car. And we'll see if his dad, Dennis Setzer, no, it looks like he has the rear end, a broken rear end housing on that race car. It wobbles back and forth, making his way down the pit lane. His dad, Dennis Setzer, is here, turning the wrenches, but Setzer is going to go back on the racetrack. They're pitted on the back side of the speedway, so he came down the front side pit lane. He's got to go around the apron of 1 and 2 and enter the backside pits over in turn number 2. So Setzer goes behind the wall.
Nobody really wins with a wobbly rear end.
Can't have a wobbly rear end.
Hamilton also on pit road. He had a big little skirmish back there as well, and now he's on pit road as well. Now we've got a battle on the track. That's for third place right now. Donald Brace at the inside of Kyle Appel. He's going to take the spot coming off of turn number 2. Feels now single file most of the way back, all the way through Michael Rouse, who's racing with Jonathan Carnegie. Back to that's about 14th place.
I'm awfully impressed with Garrett Bunch and the speed he's been able to show and the handling of that race car, maneuvering inside and outside through all of the lap traffic, through all of the restarts, different competitors to his outside on these restarts, time after time, and he's been able to withstand every challenge. Right now, he rides on the back straightaway. His advantage is 1.7 seconds over Lewis White. That translates to nearly a full straightaway. As Clay Jones again having problems continuing to backslide here. He makes some contact with one of the race cars, moves him up out of the way, but Clay Jones fighting to stay in the back half of the top 10.
Tough break for Clay Jones out there. He was right up front there and just kind of backsliding. Knows his way around this racetrack. Really wanted to win this big race here with the first coming back at the Speedway. He's been supporting the track all season. Just tough go of it late here in this race. We got just about 20 laps to go. And right now it's all Garrett Bunch. He's got a 1.65 second advantage over Lewis White while Donald Brace continues to race with Kyle Appel. Brace has Appel slowly faded back, but he's about 1 second back from Brace back to Appel.
Again, Garrett Bunch now catching the tail end of the field. Jonathan Carnegie sits just in front of him. Carnegie getting the move over flag, but he has got traffic stacked up in front of him. Garrett Bunch, the leader, going up underneath Carnegie off turn number 2. Put him 1 lap down. Lewis White rides to second, half a straightaway back as they all continue to work heavy traffic back across the start-finish line. 57 laps complete.
Traffic's been a factor in most of the races out here, but Garrett Bunch has just about a second and a half, which translates to about a half of straightaway lead over Lewis White, but now he's caught up to the back end of huge slower cars right there. He gets up and around Chapman just fine. Chapman skids off the apron. He looks to be okay. A little bit of sparks came up off the rear end, but he's all right. Lewis White continues to run in second, but has Donald Brace slowly closing in on him, but it's a ways to go from second back to third.
60 laps will go up on the board next time by. 15 remaining. 15 laps to go next time by for the race leader, Garrett Bunch, up off turn number 4. And here he is crossing the start-finish line. And Brad Arthur, the 16th place car, going a lap down in just, another lap or so, side by side with the race leader exiting turn 4, but Arthur able to withstand the challenge, trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap.
Can't blame him for trying to stay on the tail end of the lead lap, but that's the kind of thing that's going to get you spun out in a limited late model race once in a while. He'll finally move up to the outside and let Garrett Bunch slide on by. And much like you see in cup racing, the first car's got a lot harder time getting by the slower traffic than the subsequent cars afterward.
And that's enabled Lewis White to close in just a bit, the distance down to about 10 car lengths. Back to turns 3 and 4. Now Lewis White, the second place car, is going to have to deal with the recently lapped Brad Arthur.
Not as much cooperation through the field as you had earlier in the race. You guys just kind of getting out of the way and letting people race. Now they're kind of battling for whatever position they can get. Got a little bit of a skirmish back in the field though. Kyle Appel in 4th, trying to hold off Danny Willis Jr. and Clay Jones. They're all stacked up behind Appel, who's trying like heck to fight for 4th.
Next time by, there will be 10 laps to go. 10 to go next time.